right, good evening, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. I understand that we have some presentations or a presentation to look forward to participating in and witnessing today. Thank you very much for coming and giving us your time. If you could just state your name for the record, please.
Sure. Hi, my name is Drisana Hughes. I'm the new Brooklyn Borough Commissioner for DEP. I'm very excited to be presenting to you all today our Flooding 101 presentation. I'm joined by my colleague, Denise Hubbard. And if it works for you, we're happy to get started and then take your questions after, if that works.
Sounds great.
Fantastic. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'll stop sharing when I've concluded. Just give me one moment to get that up and running. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, great. Okay. Great. All right, so I'm going to get started. We just wanted to start off the presentation talking about New York's climate, which, we all live in New York City here, but I think it's important to note that NYC was reclassified recently as a humid subtropical climate, which basically just means we are slated to get more rainfall and we're going to continue to have intense storms. And so for that reason, flooding and flood protection and DEP is all that more important. So just wanted to start off level setting with that and noting some of these big storms that we all were, in the city for Ida, where we got, over 3 inches an hour. These are the types of storms that can overwhelm the sewer and cause flooding. And so we just want to start off with acknowledging that's the climate that we're in. And for this presentation, we're going to talk about 3 types of flooding, mainly the first one here, stormwater. But at DEP, we engage with all of these types. So stormwater, just coming from storms, which is obvious. Coastal flooding, which comes during storms and even not during storms, just through the sea level rise, and can happen all over New York City and happens in many parts of Brooklyn. And then groundwater, which is water that exists in the ground, independent of stormwater and coastal flooding, but can get aggravated and can affect basements in many different scenarios. A big reason that DEP answers lots of 311s and has to deal with lots of issues with our sewer because of sewer backups and overflows. So I know most folks here know this, but always important to go over that most of New York City's sewers are combined sewers. So that means the water that goes into the sewer from flushing your toilet or running your washer dryer or washing your hands in the sink goes into the same sewer as stormwater. And during rainstorms, that's why the sewer can get overwhelmed, because we have a combined sewer and it both goes to one place. So this can result in backups that sometimes, floods coming up through manholes and catch basins, and then also through basement sewer connections and other local waterways. And we're going to talk about some ways we can mitigate flooding and mitigate this from happening in homes and communities. So first, I just wanted to highlight that we have a flood map at DEP that you can look at online. It's public. And I took some screenshots from hotspots in Community Board 17. You can see the way the colors are coded. That deep blue means when there's a big storm, these areas usually flood up to 1 foot or greater. And then light blue, nuisance flooding, that goes between 4 inches and less than 1 foot. And I just highlighted these areas because one, I think it's important that folks in the community board, you can look up your address, see how close you are to these areas, and encourage members of the community who live in these areas to take extra steps to safeguard their homes, buildings, and neighborhoods. And then we at DEP use this information when we're considering sewer upgrades, where to place catch basins and green infrastructure, where we'll talk about in a second. But I definitely wanted to plug this map, and I'm happy to email it afterwards so that folks can use it and know more a little bit about where hotspots are based on historical data. And now I'm going to move into like, what do we do to combat flooding? So the city has a toolkit and a multi-layered strategy that we use to combat flooding. We call gray, green, and blue infrastructure, then regulating and real-time monitoring, which is like, how can we, monitor flooding in real time and get help needed where it needs to go in real time. So we'll start just with a background of the sewers. The sewers is like our first line of defense for flooding. In 98% of rain events, the sewers work. It's just these really, really, really big events where they don't. And those are equally as important. But the sewers are our first line of defense. And it's built to handle about 1.5 to 1.75 inches of rain per hour. So on that slide I showed before where we were talking about storms, it was 3 inches per hour, 2 inches per hour. That's when it gets really, the sewers get overwhelmed. But they're able to handle up to 1.75 inches. And they can get overwhelmed, like I said before, when we exceed that. And one way that we're working to mitigate that long term is DEP has a 10-year capital plan, which includes over $8 billion for sewer system upgrades, and many of those upgrades are in Brooklyn. I also have information on the capital projects that we're doing in CB17, but many of them are in the pipeline for the next 5 years, and they're ongoing, and they're in design phases. So these upgrades are extremely necessary to make sure that we can keep this 98% rate of protecting against storms, and maybe make that even 99%. So sewers are the first step of defense that we have. Then we also have green infrastructure, which is natural ways that we can improve neighborhoods, roads, sidewalks to help them absorb water so that the sewer doesn't get overwhelmed in a large storm event. So those are things like rain gardens, expanding the medians in the street to add more catch basins, and porous pavement, which I'll talk a little bit about as well. These are very, very, very helpful at managing extra stormwater when a storm comes. And so we've been trying to construct as many of these as possible in Brooklyn. This is a map of the green is green infrastructure that we've already built in and around the community, where this isn't a perfect shape of it, but I just took a square of what I could best capture. And the yellow is what we're in construction. So as you can see, there's lots of green infrastructure in the neighborhood. Maintaining it, keeping it clean, keeping it working is very important, so that when there is a big storm event, the green infrastructure is able to work as intended. Then we also have porous pavement, which we are adding a lot more of this in Brooklyn in the coming years, which is, it's basically special concrete, special paving that can absorb and drain rainwater. And so sometimes in New York, we have lots of issues because we have lots of construction and lots of concrete that's not permeable. So the water, that just can cause even more flooding sometimes. So this porous pavement is great in helping to combat water, excess water in the neighborhood and flooding. And we plan to build another 35 miles in Brooklyn. So the next slide, FloodNet sensors. This is our kind of way of detecting and monitoring flooding in real time. If there is a lot of flooding happening in one area, be it because of a storm, be it because of a sewer issue, we can get that information in real time and send it to agencies that help with emergency management, send it to us and kind of give us that real-time information. So DEP is spending around $7 million to install 500 across all 5 boroughs. If you go to that website, you can learn more about where they are and what they are. And this is the type of thing that will really help us in the future moving forward. The last thing I want to mention about some of our, extra things to combat stormwater is the Unified Stormwater Rule. So in 2022, DEP increased the amount of stormwater that new and redeveloped properties must manage on site. So if there's a new property being built or a property that is being redeveloped, like rezonings present this really, really great opportunity to make these buildings integrate stormwater management into the new buildings. And so there's a lot of rules around what buildings have to do what, and it's definitely tightly closely involved with zoning, but it's a great rule because it's making sure that we have more green infrastructure in the city, and it prioritizes that when someone wants to build more or redevelop anything. And so we've been working closely with the implementation of that. It helps reduce heat and it helps manage flooding as well. So now I'm just going to go over for the final bit of the presentation what you can do to protect your home from flooding, what we suggest, some things we suggest at DEP. And I think this is helpful for you all as you have conversations with the community. So one is converted basements can be an issue for flooding, and so there's some good kind of rules of thumb with basements that are really important to help you with sewer backups, which is one, bathroom fixtures shouldn't be located near a sewage connection. That can facilitate things like raw sewage coming up in your bathtub or your toilet, and that happens when it's very close to a fixture. Basements that are located at the bottom of a driveway or below a sidewalk are more prone to stormwater and groundwater flooding. And then exit routes are very critical. So just making sure you're following all the instructions in a basement for having all the exits that you're supposed to have, not having bars on windows, those types of things can make it hard and can make your basement kind of dangerous when there is a flooding incident. Rerouting downspouts. So you can see here, just making sure that they go out onto the street. That keeps rainwater out of your system and reduces the likelihood of backups, and just directing your downspouts away from your building, not near your building, or kind of under your building can help making sure they're properly installed. Rain barrels are great. If you install them and you connect them to your home's gutter, they can keep water out of the sewer and reduce the demand on the sewer system. So this helps us when homes install rain barrels. And you can reuse the collected rainwater. So they collect stormwater. You can use them on your plants. You can use them for other uses that you may be using stormwater for. And it keeps water out of the sewer for a certain period of time. So it helps our collective pressure in that regard. Flood sensors help. So you could purchase a flood sensor for your basement, and it will tell you, let's say you're not home, let's say you're asleep, it can tell you and alert you when water's entering your basement. If you place them near the drain or your windows, they're even more useful. You can get them at Home Depot. They have varying levels of, you can get them for various price levels, but we've had lots of positive feedback from folks who have these in their basement, so they can tell things in real time when something is going wrong. Flood barriers are things you can use outside of a back door or of a front door. They can be filled with water or sand, and you can place them outside of your door, your garage, windows. They may seem like small, but they do help. Like I said, a lot of times we're talking about a few inches here, but those inches go a long way when they're inside of your home and causing damage. Sump pumps, also really good to remove flood water. It's really good to have it when it's happening in real time. This can help you pump water out of your basement safely and put it into a drain or push it outdoors so that it doesn't damage a lot of your valuables. Sorry. So then there's just a few last minute things that we as DEP, we're trying to, in a campaign to reach everyone across the city, just make these few things clear that it just helps the whole community. If there's a very, very big storm, because we have a combined sewer, that might not be the time to do your laundry. Or if you can wait a few minutes to take a shower, those types of things put stress on the sewer system and increase the likelihood that the sewer system will be overrun. So if you can wait to use water, if it's a crazy storm, that helps you and your neighbors and those around you. A lot of sewer backups are caused by people putting the wrong things in the toilet. So definitely trash it, don't flush it. DEP spends, almost $20 million a year trying to deal with damage from backups that, if people didn't put wet wipes in the toilet or, flush the correct things, we wouldn't have to. So that's a very important plug. And then there's this app that sometimes we recommend. folks download, and it can tell you when there's a high tide or an intense storm. And like I said, a lot of this can be preparation. And if folks are prepared, it can really, really, really help prevent property damage and lots of other flooding negative externalities. So the very last thing I wanted to go over is insurance. And so flood insurance is available for a lot of homeowners, renters, and businesses, and it may be required for some. And not all New Yorkers are eligible for it, but folks should really, really, really check if they are, because it's the difference between having to take care of a lot of damage in your home yourself versus having some support. So that's very important. And then another is you can get insurance for any damages that happen from a sewer backup, but it doesn't come automatically. You have to get an optional rider, and it's quite cheap. And if something happens to your service line, that can be upwards of $10,000 to fix. And so having this insurance is great and really, really important. And so we really encourage it. And the city has sent out a few mailers about it, but I'm happy to send another piece of info to the community board as well. And the last thing is just to sign up for Notify NYC. This is our way of getting out emergency alerts about storms and all that kind of other good information. And we can do it quite localized. So if you sign up, they ask you where you live, they ask you your information, and we can give you warnings ahead of time, the best that we're able. Great. So that's the end of my presentation. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Denise and I are here to answer any questions you may have. And thank you all for taking the time.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate all that information. That was a lot to digest there. I guess the floor is open. Anyone have any questions they would like to ask? I guess we'll start with raising of some hands. Ms. Martinez, yes. Go ahead, Ms. Martinez.
Yes, good evening. I'd like to find out about the FloodNet sensors, because I've been to a couple of meetings at FloodNet, and I noticed that the sensors were in like the Prospect Park area, and nothing was really scheduled for our area. I understand there's one somewhere on Farragut Road, but where are they scheduled to be placed?
I will get back to you. I'll definitely look up. I can get you information about where the current FloodNet sensors are and where we scheduled to place any more. So I'll definitely get back to you with that information.
Okay. Yeah, hand raised. TW is the initials.
Hi there. Good evening. My question is not about flood or water, but about garbage. Is this the right time, or you want me to hold my question until afterwards?
Yeah, we're just going to stick to the flooding presentation just for right now. And then once we are done with those questions, we'll jump to the garbage.
Okay, don't forget TW. Okay.
Okay, we'll do. Ms. Gwashi, you have a hand raised?
Yes. Good evening. Thank you for the presentation. What I didn't see on your presentation is how you combine your efforts with sanitation, because I see the first line of defense before you start is the catch basins. If the streets aren't clean, everything flows down to that catch basin, which flows on top of it, where if the trash is on top of the catch basin, nothing goes down that basin. And so I am a victim of that happening, because when they repaved the streets on Troy and Farragut, everything went down a pitch. So I get everything from Foster Avenue down to Troy Avenue, and everything from East 45th down to Troy Avenue. So I get it both ways. So when we had COVID and we didn't have any street cleaning, the water went up 4 feet on that corner. Yeah. I am the only living thing on that corner, because everything else is industrial or a restaurant.
Yeah, no, look, clogged catch basins are a huge issue. I can just tell you since I've started, like I've answered a lot of 311 constituent calls from elected officials and everyone about clogged catch basins, and it's an issue where we work in tandem with sanitation, but we ultimately will go out like if the catch basin is very clogged, like you've said, to the point where it's not accepting water, like we will ultimately respond to that 311. So you should definitely flag that to, I mean, the community board has my contact information. If you see something like that in your neighborhood, you should flag it, and I will make sure it gets to the right team, because we do clean the catch basins and we do want them to work, or else you know, we're to your point, they're not working as designed. So, you know, we definitely want to call those in and definitely let us know.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's see, we have Gordon. I'm not sure. Ms. Gordon? Okay, we have George.
Yes, good evening, everyone, and good evening, Ms. Hughes, and thanks for the presentation, and hello, Ms. Hubbard, and welcome back.
Hello, George. How are you?
Okay, hanging in there. Mhm.
Good.
Yes, but I had, yes, a couple of things. One, as Ms. Quashie
Okay, George,
mentioned,
don't kill us now.
no, it's not much. As Ms. Question mentioned, the issue that she has on Farragut Road is the same issue I have. I live on East 43rd, and we have the community drive between Troy and East 43rd Street. So when the sewer is backed up and because it hasn't been cleaned, especially by sanitation, all the water comes down and it comes into our backyard. And at times, a couple of times it came into my neighbor's home. Yeah, so that's one thing that has to be really
What's the
addressed,
location
especially
again?
that's
East
far
43rd?
East 43rd, yeah, the community drive between East 43rd on Troy Avenue, coming from, because I also get the water from Farragut Road and the one coming down from Foster Avenue, because so if on Troy Avenue, because the corner of Troy Avenue and Foster Avenue is always leaves and things over there, so it's flooding, so the water come down. Same thing on Troy,
Is
go ahead.
is that the direct location of the catch basin, George?
The catch basin, yeah, there's a catch basin and Troy and
East
Foster
43rd
Avenue. Yeah. There's one on East 43rd on Fargo.
and Troy. Okay,
And
and
there's
then
another
Foster.
one. There's one on Foster and Troy Avenue that is always people keep sweeping things in the air, but it's always flooding. Yes, I was flooded.
Okay.
So when it's flood and faster, it comes down, and the way the driveway is a slope, all the water comes right in front of my garage.
Okay. Do you have an
Okay.
idea when it was cleaned last?
No, I don't.
All right, we'll check the system and we'll see what's going on.
Okay, and then the other question I have is regarding the map that you showed regarding the flooding area. I know it was a little for the sense of time, yeah, it was a quick presentation regarding that. However, I know of two places that are really heavily flooded in the area, and I didn't notice it on the map. One is
Yeah.
Glenwood Road on East 46th Street.
So the map covers like where the land is deeper or where it may naturally flood, not necessarily like if there's a clogged catch basin or the sewer acts up in a certain area. So it wouldn't have every place that actually floods. It's just like the land itself where there's a deep basin or there's a natural lowering in the land. But I'm happy to take these other areas so Denise and I know about them.
Yeah, because the one on East 46th Street and Glenwood Road, every time it rains, it floods, so you could barely drive through there. Yes, the slope over there looks a little deeper, so it's right at that corner over there under the train station. The other spot is the other heavy spot is Kingside Way and Farragut Road, or near Foster Avenue over there. Again, near the elevated train. So right that corner is always flooded whenever it rains.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay, George, we'll look into it.
Thank you both.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes, thank you. I had a problem with my mic, so thanks again for calling on me. I have a question about the porous pavement that you talked about. Is that just for the roadway or for the sidewalks? Because I think I read someplace before that they have porous type of cement for the sidewalk, and is that true for sidewalk?
Yeah. Yes, it's also it's for the sidewalk. Like I mostly see it on the sidewalks. Denise, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I mostly see it as a
Yes.
sidewalk. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes, it's on the sidewalk.
Okay, because I have a follow-up question on that. Last year, DEP did a sweep on my block and 2 blocks and around the corner for the homeowners to do new sidewalks. And, you know, I didn't understand why, because it's not as bad as many other places I've seen. And they came out to do a second and they said, oh, well, it's because the sidewalk, it's, Brooklyn, especially Clanton Road, it's like shifting, right? So they said it was really the curb is more than 2 inches from the sidewalk, right? All right. So the question is, if there are new initiatives for infrastructure, and I still don't understand why our taxpayers' dollars cannot pay for the sidewalk repairs like other areas, why would we have just individual people fixing it when we know about this new infrastructure material? Because, for example, I know 2 and 3 neighbors that already did their sidewalk, and it's already cracked up. It's worse than where it was. So maybe some of these companies are using cheaper material. But my thought is, if there's an initiative, why wouldn't the city just repair the sidewalks and take it out of our increased tax dollars?
That's above our pay rates.
Yeah,
that's above our pay grade.
No, I'm saying, why would I just get someone who's the lowest bidder to fix my sidewalk just to say it's done when I know there's an initiative from the city to get it done? They should just do it correctly for everybody.
Well, like I don't, where the porous pavement goes is not like, it's not something we can request, that type of thing. And it's also, we're trying to mitigate stormwater, so we're putting it where we think it will catch the most stormwater. So getting one individual porous pavement, it's a little like hard, I would imagine. And I don't know, to Denise's point, like the broader city effort on sidewalks. But I can get more information, and we have access to know where porous pavement is going. And, my understanding is it's going all over Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But it's definitely tied to where stormwater is, and not just necessarily, where sidewalk upgrades are needed, if that makes sense.
It makes sense, because you were saying it's not your pay grade. I'm like, who's pay grade? And I would email the person directly myself, because it doesn't make any sense. No, only because a couple of years
No,
back,
you're right.
Because a couple of years back, they did the entire across the street. I'm like, oh, great, we're getting a new sidewalk. But they only did one side because there was some electrical wire work being done. And now this side, yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Who did it? DEP or DOT?
Right.
At that point, I wasn't paying much attention because I thought I was going to get new sidewalks.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of people involved with sidewalks. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you can share who's pay grade, I will email or someone in the committee. I mean, I can email them, because I don't think that's if it's an initiative, why waste $3,000-4,000, and that's the estimate for a 100 square foot for a sidewalk.
Right. We can try and get you more information.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Ms. Martinez, did you have another? Wait, we have
Yes,
Misha here.
oh, you want,
Oh.
this is Hazel Martinez. Are you calling me?
No, I'm sorry. I want to give Misha a chance to speak.
Oh, hi, how are you? Thank you for the presentation. I had a question about the insurance you mentioned at the end. I did get a letter from DEP, I guess, about insurance for the optional water and service line protection program. I assumed that was for lead pipes because we also were told that we potentially could have lead pipes. Do you know if that covers both lead pipes and potential flooding?
So the insurance program covers like flooding, and if your pipes are like messed up through that process. My understanding is if they find out you have lead pipes, they like it doesn't insure lead pipes. So they get you to
Okay.
change. They want you to change your pipes to not lead pipes, and then they'll insure those. But we really recommend it because, like I said in the presentation, if something happens, it's on the homeowner, it's not on the city, and it's $10,000 at least. So the insurance is like some you can get are $15, $20 a month. And
Yeah.
so it really could be, but if you do have lead pipes, they're going to tell you to change them before they'll insure you. So
Got it. Okay.
yeah, that's kind of the
Regardless.
nuance there. Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
which that's already like $10,000, the lead pipe. So I'm
Right.
hearing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how much. I don't know that, but I do know if you break your service line to fix it is like it's way more money than the insurance. So
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
I have two questions. One is, do you have a plan for grading our sewers? Because we have a lot more people living in community and the sewers don't seem to be large enough. And the other question I have is about the maintenance plan for the bioswales, since I know the contractors only have to maintain it for maybe 1 year or 2 years. And what is the plan going forward?
Yeah, so the rain gardens after the contractor period expires are maintained in-house at DEP by our staff. Obviously they have to maintain 10,000 rain gardens across the city. We try to clean them once a month. But we're working on we need more resources internally at DEP to maintain these. But we maintain those in-house after the contractor period is done. And I can get back with our capital planning schedule for the community board, but like I said, there's a very robust plan to upgrade the sewers in Brooklyn. And from a dry weather perspective, so this is dry. By saying dry weather, I mean if there's no storm, the sewers are capable of handling wastewater, and we're working on upgrading them for storm. But I don't have the community board 17 capital projects in front of me right now.
Because I see a lot of upgrades going on all across the city. I just don't see any right here. And there are people that are suffering for many, many years with flooded basements when there's a deluge of rain. All of a sudden, there's a backup of black stuff into their homes. And nothing has ever been done about it. But we don't seem to be getting the same degree of upgrades over here, or it's very slow, or we're last on the list.
Yeah, I'll get the list and I'll send it over to the community board so we can just get the factual information about when and if and what it is. I think it's a very good question, and I'll get back to you.
Hey, Ms. Mark, did you have something to say?
Yes, thank you. Good evening. Thank you so much for that bothful presentation. I wanted to know, is it possible if that presentation can be shared with the community board?
Yes, I will send it. I will send it via email after.
All right. And I wanted to, will you be, I guess this question is for Mike Hill. Will she be come to present at our general meeting?
Well, that's not really a question for me. Would you be able to do a presentation at our general board meeting this
I'm
Wednesday?
happy to. I'm happy to. Just let me know. I'll be there.
Oh, okay. It'll be
Okay, great.
this Wednesday at 7:30.
Oh, I can't come this. I'm doing a different community board this Wednesday. But if you give me more ahead of time notice, I will come to your April or your May, whatever works.
Okay, yeah. The third Wednesday of April is when our next meeting will be.
And will it be virtual?
Yeah, would you be able to come in person or would you be doing it virtually?
I can come in person. Let me just see if we have something the third Wednesday.
Okay.
This is April. I'm confirming this is April 17th.
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm open.
Where?
Downstate. Oh,
Yes, it's downstate hospital at the auditorium. I'm sure we could get you the information if you don't know how to find it.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, just
I'll be
send us
there.
the info.
Okay, no problem.
thank you so much.
Ms. Quash, do you have a question?
Yes. Has there been any consideration to discuss with the New York City planning about with the contractors about the infrastructure? From what Ms. Martinez was saying, we're becoming a concrete jungle. So the water has nowhere to go. With we're losing trees, we're losing grass, we're losing places for where the water to go. And you're going to have a bigger problem than just the sewers in a few minutes if we continue building that way. So have you been in those discussions to make sure that proper planning are put in place?
Yeah, so I will caveat this with, I started this job 6 weeks ago.
Oh, well,
And
congratulations. Welcome.
and a lot of what you're talking about is, it's parks, it's transportation, it's DEP, it's housing, it requires a collective government interagency effort. So I say that not to say those meetings aren't happening and not to say that people aren't thinking of it. But I have not been engaged in that effort yet. And I hope to investigate it on your behalf and hopefully can get back to you on April 17th with what the whole of government approach is here, because that's a multi-agency thing.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
For sure.
All right. Let's see. Do we have anyone else with any other questions? I don't see any hands raised. Okay, I know that we had a question regarding garbage. Was that question for the presentation or presenters of the presentation, or is that separate? TW, I believe you had a question regarding garbage.
Yes, sorry. And thank you for the presentation, by the way. I had known nothing about the flood and all of what you've shared. So I really appreciate it. Yeah, my question was about sanitation and not about the presentation and specific to my property.
Oh, okay. One minute. Ms. Martinez, you had a question?
I would like to ask Ms. Hubbard about the hydrant usage before DEP leaves, hydrant usage, because we have a spot on Avenue D and East 57th Street where every weekend it's being used to wash a lot of vehicles. And when that happens, if there's a fire, the water pressure will be decreased. And I don't know if we could have that hydrant locked. I think it was locked many years ago. Someone probably broke it off.
Okay, did you put it into 311, Hazel?
Yes, but I haven't heard anything, and now I can't even find the computer.
Okay, that's fine. Put it in, shoot me an email, and we'll get a lock put on it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes, good evening. Now, that was going to be my question also. In regards to the hydrant, being used to wash, say about 10 to 15 minutes. The people don't live in there, just come there to open that hydrant. But I
Is
do
this the
appreciate-
same hydrant?
Yes. So you're going to have somebody locking? Yes, thank you. Oh, my other question is in regards to the
I can
people
barely
are
hear you.
Can you hear me?
No.
No, I can barely hear you.
Getting rid of their front yards, side yards. And they can do about this because I remember about 20 years ago.
I'm sorry, Miss Bennett. I can't understand what you're saying.
Can you hear me better now?
Ms.
A
Bennett,
little.
you want to try to log out and log back in and see if that helps your connection?
No, it's my area. Put it in the
Well, you
chat.
want to put your question in the chat?
Yes.
I see your comment here about cement over the yards causing flooding. I don't know if that's what you were talking about. Yes. Okay. Denise, do you have a thought on that? I don't know that we regulate homeowners putting cement on their own yard. Or if that's something, but I can take that question back.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to. It's based on the problem that I'm having with my neighbor dumping garbage on my property. Okay, that's a sanitation issue.
This is the two questions before, Denise. The comment
Oh.
before.
Is it in the chat?
Yeah, like I see Miss Bennett said people are. I think just like people are cementing over their yards and it's causing flooding. Like, is there anything DEP can do about that? Kind of is how I read the question.
I'm not sure. We're gonna have to take that question back.
We'll take it back.
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Gordon has her hand up.
Yeah, I was going to just say, I think it was TW, I think, who said that the hydrants are broken. I just wanted to say, people are buying the wrenches to open them. And even in front of my home, someone opened it to do those car wash business that they have, those portable car wash business. I did call 301, but by the time they came, they're gone. So I don't know if there's new locks, but they're buying it probably from Amazon. So it's not necessarily broken. So that's what
You're saying that they're popping the custodial locks?
There's wrenches that you can buy to open them. So
to open a custodial lock.
I don't know, just the hydrant locks. I don't know what it's called, but they have special wrenches that they're coming to open the thingy, the top of it, and they can use it.
Right, it's on the top.
Yeah, they're using it. And now there's some folks who have their small businesses that, that do portable car washes. I've seen twice they use a hydrant to use that to clean cars, right? Right with hydrant.
Do you know if they have a permit to use the hydrant or not?
I don't think so. I did call 301 to report it because I didn't know what else to do, but but they were gone by the time, but they probably don't have a permit. I don't know because I don't know people's business models, but for some reason I don't think they did.
Okay, well, if you see him again, just do me a favor. Do you have my email address?
I don't.
Okay, it's say it again.
No, I was saying, is it in the chat? But I'll take it.
Okay, Denise H at dep.nyc.gov.
Okay.
Okay, and Jasana put it in the chat.
Okay, so just tell you that it's happening because I go
Yeah,
running
just
around.
if you could shoot me an email saying, okay, Denise, they're using the hydrant right now.
Okay, because I go walking around the neighborhood for exercise, and I've seen other places like on Schenectady, they're using it. So I don't know so if I see them in motion, I
Yeah,
guess
if you see it in motion and
yeah,
you just happen to remember where you saw it,
yeah.
that would be great, because if you can send it to me, then we can send it over to our operations team, and at least they can have a heads up. I can say, well, at such and such time, this is what goes on.
Okay.
It might not go on every day, but we could send somebody over there just to peek.
Yes, and it's not every day. No. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, then that's fine. That's fine.
Thank you.
No problem. Anybody else?
I put the address
Yeah,
for the board meeting in the chat for the
145
7th.
Lexington Road.
Right. Just so you have
Got
it.
it. Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
yes, Mr. Chair, can I say something? My hands
Oh,
went up.
yes. Go ahead, Rich.
Yes, I just want to follow up this thing with the car using hydrants for a car wash. So Denise, yes, I may be sending you some emails, guys. On Brooklyn Avenue, between I guess Snyder and Tilden, around there. There's always a van there, has no label, so it's not a real business, but they are always there washing cars, using the hydrant. This is something that's happening throughout the neighborhood. I've been noticing a lot.
You said Brooklyn Avenue?
Yeah, Brooklyn Avenue, between
And
from Snyder all the way to I was at Tilden in that area. Yeah, that
between Snyder
they
and Tilden?
yes, or maybe Beverly. As you know, they go, but definitely along that stretch, they're
Okay.
always washing cars over there. So,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's by the cemetery because I see them all the time too.
Yes, yeah, right there on the cemetery. You're right. Because when I do
Okay.
go for my exercise, that's when I see them.
Oh, maybe I'll see you next time.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Okay, no problem. You can, like I said, when you see them, if you can, even if you can snap a picture right fast and just send it to me.
Okay, yeah, I'll try to do that.
Snap a picture of the hydrant, because we can
Yeah.
see if it's a custodial lock on top of the hydrant.
Okay.
Yes, our guys will know what to do.
Okay, thanks. I'll do
All
that.
right? No problem. And anybody else can send me pictures or send my supervisor pictures. We will definitely follow up on them. I think you guys already know that when you reach out to me, I always reach out back. So we shouldn't have any problems, especially with the clog catch basins. We definitely need to know about that, because sometimes when the debris is on top of the basin, it doesn't mean that the basin is not working. The basin might need to have a deeper cleaning, but we won't know that unless you let us know.
All right. Thank you very much. Ms. McCain-Brown.
Good evening, and thank you
Good evening.
for the presentation. My question has to do, and this might be police also, cars that are parked in the hydrant and remain there and are unable to sweep, for instance, besides regular, also in the hydrant. Is that something that you would consider, or is it police?
Wait, what is the problem? Is it with the hydrant?
Is cars that are parked in the hydrant. So
Oh no, that's police.
Sanitation is unable to clean.
Unable to sweep. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's
Correct.
police, hon.
Yeah.
That's police enforcement.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Ms. Gordon, are you back? You have
I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm back. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I
No
have a
problem.
lot. I have a lot. Okay, so you mentioned basin. I forgot as I'm walking around. Because I see a lot of new rain basins, right? Who's responsible for them? Because some of them, there's now people throwing garbage in there, and I'm thinking, is it the city responsible to clean that, or is the homeowners now?
It's the catch basins on the corner.
No,
I think you mean rain gardens, right?
I'm sorry, rain garden.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rain gardens.
I mean, it's DEP definitely has a team that cleans rain gardens regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Are we able to clean them as regularly as they're getting trashed? No. So sanitation has helped us sometimes. Parks has helped us sometimes. We have communities that help us sometimes. So like one thing I've been doing, and we could do this with the community board, is we have a rain garden stewardship event. So we have the community board come out, sanitation, we come out, we explain to people what these are. They're not garbage cans. Please keep them clean. They will not work if you fill them up with trash. So if you have one that you want to flag, like, you can email Ian Denise for sure, but it's beginning to have to be a community-wide effort and interagency effort, because like I said, there's 10,000 of these across the city, and DEP, we're not, staffed enough to clean them as quickly as, folks would like.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the presenters? Does not appear that is the case. Well, with that said, I want to thank the presenters here from DEP that came and gave your time. Really appreciate all the information that you gave us and took the time to answer questions. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you guys, or at least one of you, next month. Everyone is very interested in dealing with this issue, because I have a feeling that these storms are just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse as time goes on. So this is definitely something that we need to deal with. It's great to hear that it's being looked at.
Great. We're looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Well, guys, thank you again, and have a great night. And we'll see you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
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 Hi, Michael. Are you ready to talk with me?
Yes, I am. Let's talk garbage.
Let's talk garbage. It looks like, before we talk garbage, it looks like Jorge and Ms. Gordon is going to start a walking community board 17 group.
Wait, what's that?
Well, forget it.
No. What are you saying?
Well, in reality, someone was talking to me about starting a walking club, because I do walk every day. So someone was talking about that. Maybe we discuss having a East Flatbush or our Flatbush walking club. So we're thinking about it, trying to see how we come up with that.
Sounds good. I can't wait.
Yes. Okay.
It does sound good. That sounds amazing.
So, Michael, I'm having an issue with neighbors putting garbage on my property. And one is that they have bolted their garbage cans on my side of the property. And secondly, then they just throw garbage on the floor. Tomatoes, peppers, no bag, just all on the floor.
Okay, as far as the bolting on your side of your property, that sounds like, I don't know, issue for housing, maybe. I don't know that
Can I answer
sanitation.
that?
Oh, please do.
Clip it. You have
Yeah.
all rights to clip the
That
lock.
that's what will happen. I've been dealing with the building management. And they said they were going to move it. I was giving them a chance, but it's just disgusting what their tenants are doing. And so yeah,
Private
it
home,
just
right?
Don't let it stay there too long, because after a while it will become something that gets to stay there.
Yes.
If you allow it to continue for a period of time.
And you have a private home, correct?
correct.
And that's an apartment building next to yours.
It is. I think it's 2 or I think it might be 4 units.
Okay. Clip the lock, and if they want to put a new lock, clip it again.
Oh, I'm gonna eventually. I mean, that's what's gonna have to happen. It has to come off of my property.
Don't
and
get
go on their
tomorrow
side.
morning. Have the lock clipped. Do not wait. Do not wait. I had similar problems. My neighbor next door. We live between. There's a house between myself and another neighbor, and the homeowner just moved on the block, and he refuses to put the trash cans in the back where everyone else does. And his tenants decided that they're going to throw all their trash in the front yard, in bags, on the ground, anywhere. If the cans are full, they just toss it wherever they want to. And
That's what's happening with mine.
Yes, and then when they did put the trash in the back, they chained up the back. They chained up the shared fence that the lady and the other person shared. They shared the common driveway, so they chained it so she couldn't even get in the back. So she had to clip it, and then they put another chain there with a lock, and she clipped it again, and she was within her rights. So, do not wait. Just clip the lock.
Right, but now with sanitation, I've received 2 tickets.
Oh.
And, right. The first one is when I first acquired the property. And so I just thought it was probably my tenant. And so I took care of it and figured I'll just deal with my tenant. But then I realized, because there were complaints from my tenant about the neighbor, and then I had cameras installed. So now I see what's happening. So I'm fighting this second ticket. But again, the woman managing the building is aware of this, and apparently they're having problems with their tenants. So
that's a personal problem.
I understand, but sanitation, I'm making these complaints to sanitation, and sanitation is closing and ignoring the complaints.
You need to speak with Teresa Cunningham. That's number 1. She's our community representative.
Yeah, I'm just going to jump in on this one real quick. I'm just going to say, if you can write a detailed email to the Community Board 17 Sanitation email, we will forward that to Ms. Cunningham, so she will definitely be able to get that and understand what's going on. And she has been pretty good with responding to the emails that we send in a very timely manner. So we can definitely get the ball rolling on her looking into that for you.
Thank you. Can you put the email in the chat?
Thank you. Sorry about that, Michael.
Oh, no, please. No, that's all right. That's all right.
And if you have video and pictures,
I have.
great. Yes. Showing them dumping.
Yeah.
That would be great. Because I had them dumping the garbage bags on my property. And I'm a corner house. So I understand your frustration.
Very frustrated. The other thing would be that I need to just fence up the whole thing, but then it's again, like
it's not going to stop
this. And anyway,
it's not going to stop them.
I do have to say that they have said that they have to catch these people in the act, for them to actually do something, but you could definitely put that concern in the email from Ms. Cunningham to respond to.
Okay.
But first, always raise a 311 ticket on the property next door.
I have.
And do it every single day.
Okay.
And say the time that they're dumping and attach the photo.
I put the email for the sanitation in the chat for you.
Because Ms. Cunningham is not going to respond unless she sees a 311 ticket.
Yeah, that's definitely another helpful thing that she'll suggest too.
Okay.
Because she's going to want to know your list of 311 tickets.
She will.
Mm-hmm. I have them. I'll just go back in my email.
Yeah, so in the email that you sent to Mr. Hill, make sure you forward him those 311 ticket numbers.
Okay, I will. Thank you, Vinay. I will
Sure. And the fine that you had to pay, so maybe you can get that she can help with that.
Oh, okay. Oh, let me write that down. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what she can do, but maybe she can help.
Yep, can't hurt to ask, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. And I am presently fighting another ticket, but I mean, I have to go back to court in July for that one.
Terrible.
Do you have a copy of your property line and your deed?
I should.
Because you can also show where your property line stops and starts. So showing that that's not your property, that's where the trash is.
That is my property.
That is on your property. They're throwing it on your property.
Yes.
Okay, so then you definitely need the pictures showing those tenants throwing it onto your property.
Mm-hmm.
And then how your place was clean at X time, and then they threw on your property at X time.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Misha, I see you have a hand up.
Yes, hi. I have a question related to a building at 1151 New York Ave. It's on New York between Beverly and Clarendon. It's an apartment building, and I walk past the side of the building every day on Beverly Road, and they clearly have a rodent issue because every single day they're throwing mouse traps with sometimes live mice, usually dead mice, on the trap out of the window onto the public street. When I walk past with my kids every day, and there's probably 4 new mice on the ground that were like jumping around. I don't know. I've tried to do a 311 complaint, but the way 311 is, it's as if I have to live in the building to complain. So I don't know if there's another avenue, because it's honestly just disgusting, and I mean, they're literally just throwing it out of the window on the public street.
Okay, if you could just put that information in an email and just send it to the email in the chat, we can forward that to Ms. Cunningham, and she can definitely let us know what, if anything, is available to address it.
Okay. Yes, I can put it in the chat. Sorry, chat or email?
The email. The email. I put it in the chat.
So the sanitation email.
Right.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Hi, Ms. Martinez. Do you have a hand raised?
Yes, I do. I want to raise the issue of the excessive enforcement in our community. When I spend a lot of time in other communities that are far dirtier, and I don't see any enforcement. And we have enforcement. Sometimes it's not even real. It's nothing. It's such negligible. A popsicle stick or a gum wrapper, and you can't control that 100%. You'd have to quit your job to stand up and guard the sidewalk.
Wow.
I think they should use a little more discretion.
You're probably right. I don't know what we're going to be able to do about that, though.
think that you should need to look at the hours that people are being ticketed, because if the time is going to be from 6 o'clock, 6 to 7 or 8, people are just getting home from work. It doesn't make any sense, and that's a city council matter.
Yeah, man, I think a lot of this stuff comes down to city council issues. Was Ms. Quashi? I see you have your hand raised.
Yes, I just have a comment. It's on a positive nature. I'm not complaining. It goes towards Ms. Cunningham. When she last was there, I made mention about how the sanitation just throws the garbage cans anywhere. And since we met with her, on a consistent basis, sanitation has taken my garbage cans and put them next to my garage. And I haven't had an issue since we had the meeting. So I want to say thank you.
Lucky you.
Definitely
Yes.
appreciate
That
hearing
happening.
that. You know, we're not just here to have grievances. Definitely want to acknowledge when things are being addressed. You know, that's for sure. That's all a part of it. So that's great to hear. I mean, it's not, you know, the end all be all, but it's something. They're listening, right?
Yeah, I'm one in many of the buckets. So I don't.
Yeah. So listen, you know, we take what we can get when we get it. At least we know they're listening.
Well, I wish ours would over here would do that, because I had to pick mine up out the street this week.
Well, you know,
17.
a well-placed email to Ms. Cunningham seems to do the trick. So if she could just send us an email with, you know, that street that you're having that issue on, it looks like she's gonna make sure they do the right thing. Was there any, I guess, anything that's changed with all of the other things that were discussed the last time we had Ms. Cunningham here? Were there any other positive changes that have come from that conversation? Anybody notice anything other than the garbage cans being put back?
More street sweeping.
So, wait, I'm sorry. Did you say street sweeping has gotten better?
I think so. I see a little more of it than before.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm seeing the water and everything.
I'm not certain, but I know the sweeper comes.
They're now saying. Oh, sorry, Mr. Tate.
No, go ahead, Ms. Gordon.
They made an announcement that they're now going to give free garbage cans to people who have who have a 2-family home, 1 to 2 family homeowners, and who have Star. The mayor's not happy about it, but we don't care about him. But that doesn't benefit
Hopefully,
because I have a 4
hopefully he signs it. Yes, hopefully he signs it because they're waiting for him to sign.
Yes.
Yes. But talking about the cleaning up, I have to say that yesterday when I went for my walk, and the same thing, Saturday also, I noticed the neighborhood is much, much cleaner. Glenwood Road, all around here, because I was wondering, is there going to be something happening around here? Because it seems like every sidewalk, every street, East 45th Street, Glenwood Road, all the way to Utica Avenue, and even Utica by the train station, which is always a mess, was sparkling clean. To my surprise and happiness, I don't know how long it's going to be kept. And also by the train station between Fargo, between Utica and Kings Highway, it was clean, and it seemed like they had bagged up a lot of stuff waiting for it to be picked up. but I have not seen the neighborhood that clean in years. So I would say I don't know if Ms. Cunningham deserves the credit for that, but if she does, I'm happy to give her the credit. But all I know is that I was glad to see the cleanliness that's finally happening around.
Mr. Tate, I'm sorry,
Yes.
I have to say this, but I think it's because of Donald Trump. That's my only comment. We have less foot traffic.
I don't think so. 'Cause the issue around here has been happening even before the immigration crisis. Because we've been fighting with that Fargo Utica to keep away from years and years and years. But this, and you could see that they swept and they
But
cleaned
they
up.
sweep every day. They're
Eh?
actually
Not the sidewalks the way they were on Glenwood and all those garbage, what they call it, the mattresses that were dumped and everything that they cleaned up.
those, the heavy dumping.
Yeah. Mhm.
I still think it's Donald Trump.
No, I don't think so. I said we've been having this fight for years and years and years before migration stepped in.
I think she's just trying to say he's the root of all evil if you're not a Trump supporter. If you're not a Trump supporter. If you are, it's okay. If you are, it's okay.
I don't want to give him credit where credit is not due. Oh, no.
You gotta have a laugh.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I don't know how. Did you guys have any other questions or anything like that?
Yes.
I think we should probably do roll call. Don't want to forget that. Michael Hill, Chair of the Committee for the Sanitation, President.
Leonie Logan, committee member.
Vanessa Quashi, committee member.
George State committee member.
Hazel Martinez, committee member.
Edith Mark, and board member.
Misha Brown, community member.
Monica McCain Brown, committee member.
Audrey Henderson, committee member.
Tanya Ward Alley, I guess I'm a community member. I live in a community.
Yep, that definitely makes you a member. Did we get everybody? Did everyone? Right, we'll take that as a yes.
Well, I see Adele has her hands up. I don't know if that means present.
Yeah, I'm about to ask her. Ms. Bennett, did you have a question?
Yes, it's in regards. Can you hear me better now? How to move from one room to another?
Oh yeah, perfect.
Yeah, great. How to get away from that side. No, it's in regards to these motorhomes that are all over the community. What I noticed they're doing is they're dumping raw sewage into the catch basins. And that needs to be addressed.
Unfortunately, that sounds like something they're going to say they need to catch in person for them to be able to ticket them. But we can definitely, do our best. If you could just put that information, the location down in an email, and I can send it to Ms. Cunningham, and she can see what she can do in terms of addressing it.
Yes, because it's horrible. Yes, thank you.
No problem.
I don't know if I'm a committee member or not. I've been here a couple of times.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I don't know if I'm a committee member or not. They sent me the invitation though. Maybe if I am, I'm present.
Okay. Well, you're here and you definitely count. So. Well, I think we had a good, productive meeting today. I feel like our meetings are getting better with time. Got a lot more people joining, which definitely helps. A lot more voices, and definitely feeling good about this. I hope you guys are too. Feel like we're finally getting somewhere. Got some people coming and giving those presentations, and they're coming to our meetings. So we have someone that's going to answer to us. So that's always a plus. If there isn't anything further, I guess can make that motion to adjourn.
Just wanted to confirm Wednesday's general meeting is in person?
Yes. Yes.
It's hybrid.
Yeah, it can do both, but it can be in person as well.
Okay, thank you.
Vanessa Quashi, the time is 8:51 p.m. I motion to adjourn.
George State seconds.
All right, with that, motion's carried. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for participating, and I hope you guys have a great night.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Take care.
Good night, everyone.